All righty, Sarah. First question for you is, can you take me back to a moment or your big aha when you kind of realized that you wanted to do something differently in your life or that you needed to do something different?
Yeah, I think, I mean, I was of that schooling where, you go to school, you go to uni, you get good grades, you get a good job, and you slip into the corporate system. And long as you stay loyal, committed, you get a good salary, you get the promotion. I was on that trajectory. My dad had done it. My dad worked in finance. So I kind of followed in that footsteps, and that's all I knew. But then and it got me here to Canada. Like I
Mhm.
landed a job 18 years ago over in Australia. So I've lived abroad for almost 20 years. But then when I hit my kind of like early mid 40s, I realized like I had no savings. I was a single income earner. I was getting very close to retirement. And the thought of having to work another, I don't know, 15, 20 years in a job I'd completely lost passion for. I started looking for other ways to make money, and digital marketing wasn't really a thing back then. It probably was, but wasn't in my radar. And I did things like, Herbalife, Amazon,
Mhm.
and none of it kind of stuck with me. And I just thought maybe entrepreneurship isn't for me. It's not my bag. It only suits a certain type of person. And then kind of like mid 2023, I was scrolling social media and I just found an opportunity to work online. So my whole goal was to kind of stay in corporate, to have a side hustle,
Mhm.
earn some money. And this is how my brain's thinking, right? Earn some money, and then I can eventually overtake my salary and retire. And then I could do my business full time. But I think the universe has a very funny way, humorous way of dealing with it. So I manifested to leave corporate, and literally 5 weeks after starting my business, I got laid off over a Zoom call.
Oh, wow.
Um, Very similar to this, but there was HR and my boss. And
Mhm.
within 5 seconds, everything was done. I was about to send an email to a client and I couldn't get back into my laptop. I was
Wow.
everything. I had no solid savings, no solid retirement plan. I was 47, sole income earner, living thousands of miles away from my family.
Mhm.
Um, and I just spent the weekend with a bottle of wine and some very deep soul searching.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
No.
come Monday morning, I'm like, wait a second, this is what you wanted. So I was very fortunate, like, unfortunately, very fortunate that I did get a very good severance, but
Uh-huh.
then the government took 50% of it. So
Right.
it was like, right, okay, I really need a kick up the butt to kind of get this going. So I do this full time. I am kind of my personal goal. Obviously, you want to hit that six figures,
Mhm.
but my limiting beliefs, I'm still working on that in the mastermind. But I just want to replace my permanent salary and some. I want to be. I don't want to go back to corporate. That is my biggest why. I don't want to have to ask permission. Live by someone else's structure and strategies. I love the freedom and flexibility. I love the community. It's just, I think in corporate, I was like a round peg in a square hole.
Mhm.
I didn't fit, and I didn't know I didn't fit. I just thought that the struggle was just part of life. But now I have a different kind of struggle, is that in the fact that I'm learning something new, but I'm learning and earning, which is great. And the earnings uncapped, whereas before I was a capped salary income earner. So so things are moving steadily, and I'm excited to know what the next kind of 6 months is going to bring. So
Definitely.
yeah.
No, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, I love what you said about, being stuck in this system or, it's like since we're children, right? We're told, like you said, that you have to go to school, right? You have to get an education, then you have to go to college, and then you have to enter the workforce, right? And it's like you do all these things, and it's like, right, we're just so accustomed to this system that really isn't benefiting us at any point, right? It's benefiting these larger corporations. Because at the end of the day, in my mind, and I've been through it, right? I've worked for huge corporations. At the end of the day, you're nothing but a number, right? it doesn't matter what you bring to the table. If they're not happy with some type of performance or making cuts, whatever the case may be, you could be gone tomorrow at the blink of an eye and they don't care, at all about it. So
Yeah.
I completely get that. So aside, from kind of wanting to get out of that corporate structure, and having like a different income stream, was there anything else that you were kind of craving at that point, as far as maybe impact or stability, maybe even purpose?
Yeah, I mean, I just felt like I was, and I say this a lot in my content, but I didn't realize I was screaming on the inside. I felt so stifled and so restricted and stuck, that, I wasn't sleeping. And I had, like you say, I hadn't had no purpose. My purpose was to, like, I worked in recruitment. My purpose was to make my client happy. My purpose was to find a candidate a job. My
Hmm.
purpose was to hit a target every month. And that just wasn't, and now I've got the freedom to, and that's the thing I was looking for. I was looking for that freedom and just want to share with other corporate women. Like, many people enjoy their corporate job, like I did
Right.
for the first 20 years of my life. Like, I loved it. I loved the hustle. I loved the
Hmm.
energy. I loved, the fast pace of it, and, like, being, climbing that ladder. But it's not until I hit my 40s that I realized, like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
So I want to reach into my other 40 over corporate women and say, like, there is another way. You don't have to stay in that cycle and be stuck to those handcuffs. And now I have the freedom. I have a passion for animals, even though I'm extremely allergic to my little fur friends. But I volunteer at the local Toronto Humane Society like a
Uh-huh.
couple of hours a week. That's something that I could never do in my corporate job. So,
Right.
and I'm looking to build a community, to help other people have a safe space where they can share. I'm into fitness and nutrition and health. So it's allowing me the freedom and flexibility to actually tap into other areas of my life that I didn't have time with before, and visit my family in the UK like 3 times a year if I wanted
Yeah.
to.
No,
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah, I love that. I love that. So, aside from yourself, and before you had got started with this, was there anyone else that was kind of being affected, by that daily grind? I mean, as far as like your family, maybe even friends.
Not really. I mean, being an expat and working
Hmm.
abroad, your colleagues are your friends, unless people that live and work in their own, they've got like school friends and uni friends. Like, because I lived and worked abroad,
Hmm.
my friends were my work colleagues,
Right.
and had been up until that point for like nearly 8 years. So the only impact it had was on me. And it's
Right.
amazing how many friends you lose when you lose your job.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Yeah,
So
I
they
get
all
that.
kind of, they disappeared, like, in the, like, my God, I might catch it. I might catch a layoff, because so admittedly I was part of 80 plus layoffs across the Americas.
Wow.
And it was very done on a Friday, and then on a Monday people were like, "Oh my God, were you affected?" Yeah, they're like, "Oh," I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, and then
So
yeah, and then they
yeah,
ghost you. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, absolutely.
and it's like, okay, okay, now I get it. And they've obviously busy lives. I've got more time on my hands, but I'm like, oh, if only you knew what I've got. I've got the golden ticket, but, like, you just watch me
Hmm.
from afar. That's fine.
Yeah, there we
But
go. Yeah, it tends to go that way, right? And then once they start seeing you have like the most minimal success, that's when they kind of start reaching back out, these so-called friends or people It's like, oh, well, what are you up to these days? What are you doing? And it's like,
what
oh,
do
well,
you
let me
do?
show you.
What,
Yeah.
what is it? This that? Like, no.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
So who?
the beauty of it is as well, like, being that my parents live in the
Uh-huh.
UK, like, I was able to surprise them on a holiday in Philadelphia,
Oh,
met them at the airport. So it's just those moments, and they're getting older, that they're in their 70s. So it's just, instead of seeing them once every 2 years, I'm now seeing like maybe 3 or 4 times a year. Really.
definitely. Definitely. No, that's awesome. I love that. Yeah, so it's like almost like, being laid off was probably almost like a blessing in disguise, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's great.
yeah, absolutely.
So, who would you say that you're building this for, really?
Um, Ultimately me. That's the first thing. But I mean, I'd love to pay off my brother's mortgage. I would love, my parents are financially good, but I'd love to, like, treat them. I really want to spoil them as well. And my goddaughter, she's a young mum, married young mum. Both her and her husband work full time. So I kind of want to leave a legacy for them. Like, I don't have any kids. I don't have
Mhm.
any nieces or nephews. So I think my legacy is my goddaughter and her future family. Like, I don't want to see them struggle. They're in their early 30s. And it's almost like I wish I'd found this in my early 30s,
Definitely.
maybe
Absolutely.
20 years ago.
No, I love that. I love that. So, what do you think is different about you now compared to when you had first joined the DG community?
I think switching, as we were saying, when you're institutionalized in that corporate mindset, it's switching that asking for permission mindset. Can I take a lunch break? Can I
Hmm.
leave it early? Can I send that email? Can I be part of that presentation? To I'm my own boss, that entrepreneur, so employee to entrepreneur mindset. That was the biggest shift. Not always having to ask Michelle and Mike, can I do this? Can I tweak this? Can
Right.
I do that? Can I send this new note? Like, just do it. Just trusting myself. And when I'm on these calls and trainings, like, you don't have to implement everything. Just implement something that you feel aligned to and that works with your brand, and trust yourself. I think that's the biggest thing I've learned. Like, when in the beginning, I was like a sponge, taking everything in, being overwhelmed, being confused. And if I had to start over, I would be like, just take a deep breath.
Hmm.
You've got money in the bank. But I was like, I need that. I was in that hustle, 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 move, move, that corporate kind of like, I need this now. It's like, just relax. It's okay. You're in good hands. So I think the progression I've had is just trusting, believing in myself, because the program works. It's just I have to adapt the teachings to my learning style and not have to feel like I have to push. The push is the push energy that I've now got
Right.
to like just chill. Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. No, I especially loved what you said about not having to ask for permission, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it is so true, right? It's like you have to ask when you can take a lunch, even in some cases when you
Vacation.
can, yeah, when you can use the bathroom, like
Yeah.
when you can take a break. Like, it's so crazy. So yeah, I love that. I think that, and that's going to resonate uh deeply with a lot of people, right? Is kind of just having to get that out of that mindset, right? Is like, with this, you don't have to do that. It's like, just do it.
Yeah. I mean, for years, I loved that. I loved that structure, that strategy of like, I knew where I was, where I had to be at a certain time. Like, I liked that. I mean, many people need that structure. But I think, as I said before, you get to a certain age, you're like, I'm a grown adult. Like, I don't want to, when my alarm goes off in the
Right.
morning, it's for me to go to the gym.
Hmm.
It's not for me to
Definitely.
get up, have a shower, and rush to work. You
Yeah.
know, and
Absolutely. Yeah, I used to
I
get mad when I was working like that, regular 9 to 5 or corporate life. It's like when my alarm would go off and it's like I knew I had to go to this job to make this money. Like,
yeah,
right off the bat, it put me in a terrible mood, right?
right.
And
You're so
so yeah.
resentful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So no, that's great. So what would you say you're most proud of accomplishing so far since joining?
I mean, geez, I was never on TikTok before I started this business. Like Michelle would say, I mean, I think she's a little bit older than me. I mean, I'm 49.
Uh-huh.
Like, even my friend was like, "You're on TikTok?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's not what you think it is anymore. It's evolved so much." Um, and so being consistent, like since starting, I've done 3 times a day. I haven't gone live yet. I'm so scared, but I'm like, it's okay. And I'm learning about YouTube, like, and I can just see myself, my content has evolved so much along the way, that I'm just proud of myself just by sticking with it and consistent. And even though I'm not where I want to be yet, I'm not giving up. I just have this burning desire, that it's going to work. Like, it will work. It may take me a little bit longer than some of the others, but that's okay. And I'm proud of myself for that. Just sticking with it and just learning every day. Because I think we forget, we don't, even when we finish school, we're still learning. I think you have to be a lifelong learner to help, not to help yourself and to help others. And that's why I haven't set up my community yet, because I feel I've
Mhm.
got so much more to learn, that when I'm ready, then I'll build that. But yeah, I'm just proud of myself for not giving up.
Absolutely. No, that's great. And it's one of those things, right? it is scary for anybody who's never done anything like this before,
Oh yeah,
especially when it comes to, the tools and the social media aspect of things. If you're brand new to it, it's very intimidating, right? Even if it's you and your phone and you're alone in your room, it could be one of the most challenging things to do. I see it all the time. Like people will literally start sweating if they have to go, live or even just make a video, whatever the case may be. But what is important is that, you take those baby steps that
yeah,
actually get you to shoot the live or make the video, right? And you just stay consistent with it doing like that. So, like you said, it may not happen at the rate of others, but that's completely okay. There's
yeah.
nothing wrong with that. As long as you're doing what you need to do and you're taking those little steps, then eventually it's just going to compound and it will happen for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's just, it's so, like, I have fun with it as well. Like, in the very beginning, like, I didn't want to do voiceovers. I didn't want to do silly trending sounds. And now I'm searching for it. I'm like, what can I do today? Because I want to have fun. I want to have
Absolutely.
fun. And then also being in the mastermind and meeting like the community, like in the flesh, like IRL, in real life, like
Mhm.
touching, like, oh my God, like meeting Jess and Wendy and Michelle. And it was just like, oh, I'm in the right place. Like the energy and everyone just having that kind of, we've all come from different lives, different backgrounds, and it's just, you're never alone. You think you're alone in the digital space, but you're so not. You're so not alone.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the great thing about this is just that huge community. So it's like at any point you can just reach out and ask for help. So I love that
Yeah.
as well. So, we talk a lot about mindset, just how important it is and just overall life and in business as well. What do you think was made a big difference for you as far as when you first joined this when it came to mindset? Was there anything that kind of changed for you or, you had a breakthrough with?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm still on that struggle bus with mindset. I think it's come a long way. Like in the beginning, it was just I wanted to like make money, but
Mhm.
then I wasn't making money. So I kind of like, what let's strip it back. Why? And I think it's that limiting belief of growing up. I'm not going to go into it, but like things, at school, I wasn't very good at school. I was a slow learner, and just that, believing that I can do it and never having to kind of trust myself.
Mhm.
But I think mindset, it's a daily job. It's
Absolutely.
not like we're on this earth to learn and grow and help and teach others. And I think that comes first with us. We have to learn and grow. We have to check our mindset every day. You have to have your morning rituals, your daily rituals and your evening rituals of like speaking nicely to yourself. Like there's enough negative BS in the world, and we give it to ourselves. Like we should be the ones saying, I can do this. I am successful. I am worthy. And I think that's the biggest growth I've had is reiterating that to myself, because I am worthy. I am successful. Like I am thankful and grateful. And I think that those and believing in that, I think that is this program has not just taught me how to strategically make money, create content, and it's also teaching me more about me. It's something that I could never get from a corporate job. And
Absolutely.
that's just, there's so many levels. It's not just a program. It's so much more. Yeah.
Definitely. No, I love that. I love that. That's great. Yeah, and I love what you said too. It all starts with you, right? Before you can
Mm-hmm.
really start helping others, it's like you have to help yourself first. So say everything goes right for you, right? You're helping people, your community is where it's at, you've built it, you're making the type of money that you want to make. What does your dream life look like in a year from now?
In a year, I definitely want to be back in the UK. My goal, I've already visualized it. I want to buy a cottage in my mum and dad's village. I
Mhm.
want to have it renovated to my style. And I just want to be able to go to the pub with my dad on a Sunday, go for coffee with my mum any time of day that I like, and just watch my goddaughter's children be you know I don't want to miss any moments on that. Just be present, spend more time with my brother, and just have the freedom to go out for that dinner or go to that movie, get a manicure in the middle of the day, get myself a personal trainer, like
Mhm.
just that freedom and flexibility. But ultimately, is to buy my own place back in the UK and I mean, but at this point, it's been 20 years since I've lived in the UK. So I think it's time for me to settle some roots and go back home. Yeah.
Definitely. I love that. I love that. So, what do you think is one of the biggest things that you've learned about yourself since starting this entire journey?
I think it's believing in myself. I just didn't think I could do it. Like, I think the leaving my corporate job, like that was my identity for since I left uni, like for 25, nearly 30 years. Like, I didn't know who I was until I got laid off.
Hmm.
So I think this journey of self-discovery and, like I said before, just trusting I can do it, believing in myself. Whereas before, I was always looking for external um, what's validation,
Hmm.
like, oh, here's a promotion, or here's a client feedback form, or you got employer of the month, or I
Hmm.
was always looking for that validation. It's like that's BS. Like, you have to it has to be here. You have to validate yourself and trust yourself. And I think my fitness journey as well, I've been doing weight training now for I think 6 or 7 years, very closely aligned with entrepreneurship instead of mindset. Like, when you get under that bar and you do a squat, you have to believe you can do that, with the right technique and the right skill set, pushing through that barrier, pushing through, being consistent. So I think I've learned a lot about myself in that, I don't need external validation. I can do this. I am worthy of this. And this is where you belong. So, yeah, I hope
Definitely.
that answers the question.
No, yeah, that's a beautiful answer. I loved it. I loved it. So, what advice would you give to someone who's maybe on the fence or scared to start, or maybe just in the same position that you were at one point? What's something that you would tell them if they're maybe, like I said, scared to start with something like this, a program like this?
Yeah. Um, I had a beautiful quote, and I think it was Will Smith that said this, that the best things in life happen on the other side of fear.
Hmm.
And I think he was doing a TED talk, and it was like, when you skydive, like the night before, he was in his bed tossing and turning, like worried and scared and all that fear. Have you skydived?
No, I have not.
Yeah, I have, and
Oh, wow.
it is the most scariest thing when you're strapped to someone, you're
Uh-huh.
leaning out of the plane, and like, the plane doors open. Like, that's not normal. That's not
Right.
normal. But then as soon as you jump or you roll out, like, it's the most exhilarating, free falling and beautiful experience. And you're just so exhilarated. And I think we all let fear stop us from trying something new. And again, I've learned, our brains are wired to keep us safe. That's our comfort zone. If we don't kind of stretch our comfort zone, we'll always be stuck. And I think it took me 5 years of being stuck for me to find this. So when I found this, I jumped, because I'm like, this, if it's working for others, it can work for me. And,
Definitely.
if you don't know, you don't try. Like I say, the best things happen the other side of fear. You've got to get over that fear, and then you can decide for yourself, like, yeah, I can, yeah, I do enjoy this. This is what I want. So I think being fearful and skeptical is good, but then do your research. Watch people for a while.
Hmm.
Watch people, snoop them. Are they
Yeah.
legit? Are they right? Or just, the information is free. Like, once you put in your email, like, you get tons of information, tons of testimonials. Absorb that, review that, check it out. I think information is power. I think, find out if it's right for you before you dip your toe in. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, that's sound advice. That's great. Um, right. I always like to ask people, who are fearful of just anything in general in life. It's just like a good question to ask themselves is, what do I have to lose? Right.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah.
it's like, they'll tinker on that a little bit or think about it. And it's like, they'll try to go through, they'll have like an A and B that they'll try to list out. And it's just like, well, the good outweighs the bad. It's like, why not? It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
just
I
jump
would
in feet
rather
first.
I would rather try something and decide it's not for me than not try something at all. Like, I
Definitely.
think I think regrets. You should never have regrets of things you haven't done. I think
Yes.
always have regrets. I tried that, it wasn't for me, or I tried that, I failed, but I tried again, and then I got, So I think failure leaves clues as well,
Yes,
as well as
absolutely. Yeah,
success.
we need that.
Yeah,
We need that. That's great
yeah.
advice. So, last question for you. What do you now know is possible since joining this community?
I mean, I know. I mean, people that are making like the six figures in 6 months, or 100K in 9 months. I know that that's possible. It's just staying plugged in and learning it. I know I'll reach that. I mean, even though it's like, oh, is it? I mean, I made six figures in my corporate salary, but I
Uh-huh.
wasn't really making six figures because I was like, in Ontario, I was taxed like 6 times, so I was
Right.
making half of that. But I don't know. There's so much potential in this community, and I think people just need to get out of their own way, and just plug in. Yeah, that's what I can say. But I think it's something that's I'm gonna stretch myself. Again, I've got some limiting beliefs still about me, but I know I'll get there.
Yeah, but the important thing is that you're working on it, right? You're staying
Yeah,
consistent and you're staying plugged in. So, no, you're going to do great things, Sarah. You were awesome. I
thank
appreciate
you.
you hopping on the call with me. And if you don't have any questions for me, we
No,
will
that's great.
end it there. All righty.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes, thank you so much, Sarah.